We all like to hang out with our friends who really get us. This might happen when we share common interests, have the same sense of humour, or enjoy each other's company. It's one of the best feelings you can experience with another person, the feeling that we truly belong. Our friendships can be a bit like being on a road trip. Sometimes our friendships can be great and we cruise along having fun. Sometimes things can get a bit bumpy and uncomfortable with our friends, kind of like when we hit a pothole or don't slow down over a cattle grid. And sometimes we can feel a bit lost in our friendship, or we don't feel like we belong and we're not sure which way to go. When we are faced with a challenging friendship situation, it can be hard to know what to do in the moment. It's helpful to know beforehand what type of friend we want to be for others and what type of friend we want in our lives. When this is settled in our own minds, it can prepare us to make wise decisions that help bounce us forward through tough times. Here's a story of a young person and how he had to make a wise decision in a difficult situation.
I decided to go and kick a footy with my friends. And so my friend Harry, who finished school a couple of years ago, said he'd drop me there on his way to work. We picked up my best mate Joe and I told Harry to drive fast, and he was up for it. We were all crammed into the back of the ute, feeling the sharp corners as we skidded around the streets in town. And I started to feel a bit sick and a bit worried because it didn't feel safe anymore. I noticed that Joe was looking uncomfortable too. I had a sinking feeling that something could go terribly wrong. Harry never seems to listen to me, so initially I just kept quiet, but I couldn't ignore the feeling anymore. I realized that my shoulders were tensing up, my heart was racing, and my mouth felt dry at the thought of what could happen to all of us. I decided to have the courage to tell him to slow down. He asked me if I was scared, and I said, "Yes, you're driving too fast and you should slow down." Well, Harry didn't slow down. As we turned the final corner, there was a family crossing the road. He slammed on the brakes and luckily he was able to brake in time. I felt so relieved when we got out of the car soon after. Joe and I kicked the footy around for an hour or so, but he never seemed himself. I felt angry at Harry for ignoring me when I asked him to slow down. But I also couldn't help but think it was a dumb idea for me to have told Harry to speed in the first place, especially when Joe was in the car too, and I shouldn't have put him in that position. I realised that I could have been a better friend that day, and Harry wasn't such a good friend either. When Mum came to pick me up, I was still a bit shaken from our near miss. I think Mum noticed that I was a bit quieter than normal. I really wanted to tell her because it was bugging me, but I didn't really know if I should share what had happened. I was relieved when she said, "You don't seem yourself. Is there something on your mind?" At first I brushed it off and just kept staring out the window, but deep down I knew that wouldn't help either. Mum gave it a little time and she checked in again. By that time I'd thought about what had happened and I felt a little more settled, but I knew I needed to get this off my chest. I decided to share what had happened. Mum listened. She understood me and I felt like I wasn't being judged. Even just sharing it with her made me feel a lot better. We talked about what I could do if something like that happened again and how important it is to be a good friend.
It can be hard to navigate our friendships and make wise decisions in the moment. It's important to understand what we value so that we can be the type of friend we want to be and build strong friendships. As we travel through life, it's good to choose friends who accept us, listen to us, and make us feel like we belong. We also need safe and supportive adults. Even though it can be hard to share what's really going on, it's important to find adults we trust and allow them into our story. Have a think. Are these people that you're traveling with? What are some of the ways you can strengthen these kinds of connections in your life?